2 weeks ago, Saturday, it all started with me. I just decided I couldn't take anymore, so I tried to commit suicide. But then after I got out, they recommended that I come here. So I came here immediately and began care, and it just seemed like a whole new life. Like, just like everything had changed. And when I met Mrs. Sumner and Dr. Macmillan, I was just, real tickled. And then I started coming here, and then last Saturday, as you know, I had another small breakdown. But all I could think of was coming back here to the people where I thought I could, begin a new life. And I don't know, it's just been like something new to me ever since I've come here, and I've been emotionally stable, and I've been able to accept the fact that life is worth living. I got a razor, and I tried to slash my wrists, my arms, and my leg and my chest. But then I figured after I'd been through all that and come here and saw all these other people, I figured that it was worth another try instead of, just trying to end my life. I found out that you don't just end your life just by trying to commit suicide.
That's what you did?
Yes, my here and on one leg and my wrists and all up here.
Saturday, 2 days ago?
Yes,
you had
And then I had a small breakdown. I had shakes and convulsions, so they took me back to a psychiatric ward. And then they released me this afternoon about 2:30.
Just a couple of hours ago.
Yes.
I think Evelyn and I both probably would like to know how it is that at the tender age of 20 you can reach the point of feeling it isn't worth going on.
Well, I was living with these nuns, and they were part of it, and I just figured I couldn't handle the situation any longer. I was just tired of living, tired of everybody, just tired, period. So I figured if I took my life, it would end it for me and for everybody, and then, I figured everything would stop right there and everybody would have no more worry. But I found out different as I was rehabilitating to come back here.
What do you find here at the Day Treatment Center that makes you feel there is hope?
Well, there's people here with similar problems, and you just feel like you're part of them. I mean, you're accepted. It's not as if, they all have problems, and you figure that your problem could sort of coincide with theirs. And then the doctors and the therapists here are just wonderful. I mean, they seem to understand more or less what's happening.
Epilepsy is a symptom of nervous system dysfunction. It is frequently accompanied by, but is not the cause of, mental deficiency. Epilepsy is characterized by recurrent attacks of loss of consciousness, usually accompanied by convulsions. This girl illustrates petit mal epilepsy. Her sister, too, has petit mal epilepsy. Petit mal seizures are usually frequent, but rarely dramatic or injurious to the patient. They may occur only occasionally, or as often as several hundred times a day. As time goes on, however, petit mal seizures tend to become more severe and frequent until they resemble grand mal attacks. This man has the more severe form of seizure known as grand mal epilepsy, which he has had for many years. He is also mentally retarded. His nose is deformed from many falls. He has kept a record of his many seizures and is now showing a page in his daily record book. It indicates 21 seizures one day and 18 another. The patient shows us his monthly and yearly record of attacks. He is very proud of the fact that he holds first place in this institution for the number of convulsions. Grand mal seizures are more severe and generalized than petit mal. In grand mal epilepsy, there is usually a period just preceding the attack when the patient experiences a disturbing sensation known as an aura. During this period, a definite change from the normal brain rhythm occurs. When the attack begins, the patient usually utters a sharp cry, and if standing or sitting, suddenly falls. In a typical grand mal attack, marked pallor is followed by deep cyanosis. The body is rigid at first, then chronic spasms of the muscles cause the limbs to jerk in a typical convulsive movement. These quickly involve the head, trunk, and limbs. The eyes roll upward or deviate to one side. The pupils dilate, and the facial expression becomes distorted. After a remission of a minute or less, the convulsions are usually repeated. The entire seizure may last for several minutes. Then the patient will usually sleep.
Talk with God.
That's right. As I'll talk to you.
Tell me about that.
Well, now, sir, this is the way I am about God. If God told us that if we ask, we shall receive. Seek, you shall find. Knocking, it shall be opened. And God has told us that He says to do unto others as you would have Him to do unto you.
You talk to God in this room?
In this way. And then we know that the prayers of God, He says He hears all things and knows all things. And does all things. There is nothing without Him that He should not hear. But it's this way with me and my God. I ask God to help me to learn these things that I know. And you know He's the greatest physician that ever lived.
And He helped you learn things.
He helped me learn what I know today. And I've got no other man to thank but Him.
And you've been learning about
the things of nature. In that case, that's the reason I said as I did this morning, because I know the things of nature, because God has given me the wisdom and the knowledge to understand.
What have you learned about nature?
Well, I've learned nature is a great thing to be in existence. And when nature goes away from Him, then there's in the remembrance for the nature that happened. And that's all of human life has been on the face of the earth. It's God's got it record somewhere. Now we know that, don't we?
You were studying engineering too?
Yes, that's right. I was studying engineering. And I studied engineer work from my grandfather's side. My grandfather's the greatest engineer that ever lived. And he died in 1930. And I told God then, if I said, well, God, I was this way. I said, God, if you let me live and work and study and all, I want to be a good man. And I want to be a Christian man and a religious man and to know how to talk to men and people of the world. Because I can sit down and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But do you know what it does for us? It's good for our minds and our bodies and all the talk.
You like to talk?
That's right. I like to study too. I like to have things before me to study. And you can't study without having a book, can you? You got to have a book on everything you want to study. To be a good one, you have to have. And I've learned something today that I have to go back and study about my father. Work, that means my drugs.
You found out today that you need to know more about your drugs.
Drugs, that's right. Because we got to know, the doctor's got to know whatever description is and whatever drug and whatever name it is and they've got books to prove it. It's what it is because they've got manuscripts.